the Stribog SP9A3G. Let's check it out. And yeah, it takes Glock mags. Grand Power has gone through a number of iterations of their Stribog. This is the SP9A3G. It takes Glock mags. They started out with the Gen 1, which was a reciprocating bolt. They came out with the Gen 2, which was a non-reciprocating bolt. And then the Gen 3, or the SP9A3, was a delayed roller blowback. Very soft shooting. It definitely makes a huge difference with the earlier Stribogs, but really with any PDW. With the new SP9A3G, yes, Glock mags, it makes it so much more compatible. You know, one of the things that Stribog was plagued with early on was magazine problems. Personally, we didn't have many problems with even the first gen mags, but there were well-documented cases. And then they came out with their curved mag, which really seemed to take care of any kind of issues. Now we have the Glock mag version. And Glock mags are so easy to come by, it just makes a lot of sense. Nate at Guns on Deals got in touch with me. He does a lot with Grand Power and with the Stribogs, and asked me if I wanted to check out the SP9A3G. Being a Glock guy, I said of course. And we really appreciate Guns on Deals for sending the SP9A3G for this review. Now the Stribog SP9A3G takes Glock mags, and that's one of the biggest pluses. There are some other differences over your standard SP9A3, and we'll take a look at it. But of course you get 3 of your fun sticks, your Glock mags. These are typically 33 rounders. We have limiters in here because YouTube has changed their policy. You can't show 30 round magazines and above. And so this is a limited magazine. And this is the way it arrived from Gun Pro Deals. It does have one of the HB Industries adapters with an SB tactical brace. This is one of the folding braces. This actually is the same design as your MP5s. And so it's got a really nice flat design. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and show it. There's a push button on the other side, and it just brings it back into a really small little package. And then we bring it out, locks up really nice. Now we're going to remove our magazine. We have an ambidextrous mag release. Bring back the bolt, and the gun is empty. Nice generous mag well. Get those magazines in. Now here's the current version of the SP9A3. It does have the curved Grand Power magazines or Stribog magazines, and these have proven to be the best overall. Curving those magazines really allowed for those rounds to feed. Again, we haven't had any problems with the originals, but this gives it a curve and it just helps it be more reliable. The top is exactly the same as the SP9A3G. There's not any differences, but the lower is definitely different. Now one of the big changes is the grip. You can see there's some cuts right here on the grip. It's a little bit thinner this way as well, but it has the same kind of texturing. It's just a little bit different. A little more straight than the original SP9A3. The mag well is also a little different. This is curved, so the magazine actually goes at an angle for the Glock mags. For your standard mags, it's more of a straight, and then it comes down. There is texturing very similar to the grip right here. But here we just have some ridge lines on the front. But overall, it's really close. Mainly, it's just the lower receiver. Now, on the SP9A3, we have the retractable brace. And so we can bring that back. This is actually offered through Global Ordnance, and it has one of the Gearhead Tailworks braces. And this same brace will fit on your SP9A3G. But again, other than that, everything is the same. And there are a lot of aftermarket parts, so it's nice to be able to switch these in and out. You know, you don't have to have proprietary Glock compatible mag versions compared to the standard SP9A3. Now this mount is actually from HP Industries. They make a lot of different aftermarket parts for the Stribog. With the SP Tactical brace, and again, this is for the HK. The push button right here just pulls around and it locks back on the other side. Now this also comes in a polymer adapter as well, and HP Industries does a lot of different parts. But one thing about it, it has a real solid lockup. The magazines have gone through an evolution. Started out just with a straight polymer translucent mag. Then they beefed it up with steel feed lips, and this seemed to work better. Then they went with the curved mag, and this has been really just super reliable. I haven't seen any reports of having any issues with these. And then, of course, now you have your Glock mag compatible. These are still available, and you can get them. But definitely the Glock mag gives it a bigger advantage. Now these offer these folding sights. Again, these are polymer, but you can get steel sights. In fact, this had steel sights included. Really easy to switch out. It's pretty much a roll pin. And we have an aperture rear with a white dot at the front. The one thing is, when you lower this down, you have a small little sight post, and then here on the back we have a rear sight. With the metal sights, you don't get that. It just does away with it. It's all metal. We have M-LOK mounting points at the front, and we do have that Picatinny rail at the bottom. And again, we have that 8-inch cold hammer forged barrel. Has a thread protector on the end. Of course, you can put any kind of a device you want to on there with the 1/2x28 threads. Now here we have our safety, and we have our mag release right here, and we have our bolt stop or bolt release. Here on the other side we have our safety. We also have our mag release here, and we have our bolt stop here. The charging handle is non-reciprocating, and that means when you fire it, it's going to stay in one place. The earlier models had a reciprocating bolt handle, and that meant that every time you fired, it would come back. If you got your hand too far up here, give your thumb a reminder. But this is really a big upgrade, and you can actually take this charging handle and switch it to the other side when you disassemble it, and it's really very easy. Now the upper receiver is extruded aluminum. It's very well done. And then we have just a polymer lower receiver. And one nice upgrade with the SP9A3s, both the A3 and the G, is it does have a flat trigger. When it comes to the trigger, there's very little take up. I mean, it's just a little, you can feel just a teeny bit of movement, and then we have the brake. A little bit of stacking right before, but not bad. Reset right there. It's not real audible, but you can feel it on your finger, so it's a little bit tactile. I'm going to check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 4 pounds, 14.5 ounces. 4 pounds, 4.4 ounces. Now the weight with the brace. 5 pounds, 5 ounces. Now we want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo, all made in the USA, one of the largest suppliers of ammunition in the country. And we're going to be shooting quite a few Glock mags and the provided mags from Grand Power. And also we appreciate Lula Loaders, because this magazine load would be a nightmare. Now we've had a lot of experience with the Stribogs. From the Gen 1, the SP9A1, it was a great gun. It had a reciprocating bolt. I actually caught my thumb on it a couple of times. Then they came out with the Gen 3 with a non-reciprocating bolt handle. Very pleasurable to shoot. Then came in the SP9A3, which is your delayed roller blowback system. It delays the action and it makes it much softer to shoot. Of course, your HK MP5s, they were the ones who really started that delayed roller blowback. And it is a huge difference because you're not getting that recoil back. It's just a very smooth system. And the bolt in this, of course, is pretty massive. It's made as a full auto machine gun by the Slovakian military. And the straight blowback, it would give you a little bump on the shoulder, a little more, because blowback typically has a little more recoil. With the delayed roller blowback, it's just softer shooting. There's no doubt. We've done a lot of comparison tests side by side. And we've done a lot of tests just shooting these. I mean, we've put 1,000-round torture tests a number of times on these little PDWs, and they just function really well. Bringing in the Glock mag is a huge coup for Stribog. I mean, there's a lot of Glock mags out there, a lot of Glock owners, and so it's easy to get these mags, and they're just really reliable. Even the mags that Grand Power included with the Stribog, they function very well. I did carry some extra Glock mags that were factory mags because I just wanted to make sure. But we had no problems at all with these mags that were included. Of course, it's just a small little package. You can shoot it slow and kind of hit your targets quite a bit. Or, you know, mag dumps. I mean, these things are just very soft to shoot, again, because of the delayed roller blowback action. Very handy, very small, compact. Makes it great for, you know, a vehicle gun. Makes it great for even a home defense gun. But we have had so much experience with the Stribog, there's nothing really new except that it takes Glock mags. And I'm a big fan of Stribog. I have a number of different ones, and I'll tell you, they're just great little small PDW type firearms, and yet they're very soft shooting. Now for disassembly, right here at the back you have a small pin. It is captive, and then it's right here next to your brace. Sometimes you can pop those out, but at first they are a little tight. So we're going to take a non-marring hammer, a little punch. This pops right out. Now this actually will allow you to open up your lower receiver. There is a pin up front if you want to separate your upper and lower receiver, but for general cleaning you can leave that pin in. Next we're going to take a non-marring hammer, and you want to just tap down on this adapter at the back, just like that. And it brings it right out. You can see where it locks up right behind here. So when you're bringing it in, you just kind of lift that up. Next, just bring your bolt back, remove your recoil spring and bolt, and then you can leave this in. At this point though, you can right here pull this piece out just like that and put it on the other side, and that way you have a left hand friendly place to put it, but otherwise put it here. And there are some other options as well when it comes to these charging handles. Now here's your bolt with your recoil system, and then of course you have your delayed roller blowback, and then here's the little roller. It will just fall out from the other side, so you have to kind of keep it in line. But we'll go ahead and pull it out. You can see you have a small little gap, and then you have your, this is really what delays it. It spins a lot of the gas out after a shot is fired, and just makes it soft shooting. But as we put it in, you'll just want to make sure that this is in like this when you reassemble. It has a flat recoil spring, which really aids in recoil mitigation, and then you have your buffer, which is some kind of nylon. There have been some changes with the bolt system over the past few years. It did come in 2 parts, but Grand Power has continued to just upgrade on these Stribogs. Now the bolt is part of this whole system. So this isn't really removable. You can remove your extractor if you need to, but pretty much it's one solid bolt. And the recoil spring can be removed just by pulling it out. For reassembly, you just want this little notch to face down, and then we're going to put in our pin. I'm going to make sure that doesn't fall out. Now I like to bring the bolt in straight in to keep that pin from falling out, but you want to make sure because it will. And then you just drop it on in. And then it closes in. Bring in the back plate to the brace, and it locks right in. Close it, and then bring your pin all the way through. Check for function, and we're back in business. All right, we have a nice hard case, and of course you get your Stribog. It is enclosed foam padding. Place for your 3 magazines, get your owner's manual, extra sights, and you get a lock. Guys, we have shot thousands of rounds through the Stribogs, and they're just solid. Again, made as full automatic machine guns, designed around that. Now you're shooting at semi-automatic, and of course with the delayed roller blowback, it's just going to give it a soft shooting experience when you're at the range, and that just allows you to keep your muzzle flat. Now the price on the Grand Power Stribog SP9A3 with the SB Tactical Brace and the HM Industries adapter. It's a package. It's $1,149.99 on Gun Zone Deals website. And they do a lot with the Stribogs. And there are other models available if you want to go that route. The Grand Power Stribog curve mags work really well. As far as pros and cons, I think with the Glock Mag edition, I think it really puts it at the pinnacle. Glock mags are very available. They're easy to use. You can compare it with a pistol of the same caliber, and yet it gives you a little more because of the brace and just the mag capacity. Great, again, for home defense, for self-defense, even as a car gun. The new configuration of the grip, the flat trigger, I think those are excellent pluses. The 8-inch cold hammer forged barrel is going to give you long life, and it does have half-by-28 threads. Plenty of real estate to put on accessories with M-LOK and with Picatinny. Flip up sights, and you can switch those out to steel sights. Extruded aluminum housing at the top, ambidextrous controls. I mean, there's just so many pluses to this, but the delayed roller blowback system gives you a very soft shooting gun as well. So comparable delayed roller lock systems are very expensive. So this really comes in at a very reasonable price. Now, as far as cons go, I would say that maybe some of the controls, not necessarily the safety because it's pretty intuitive, but you know, your mag release is up front. Still, it's right there at the mag well, a little different. And then of course your bolt release or bolt stops right up here at the front. So it's a little bit of a different manual of arms, but really not that much. And honestly, guys, that's the only cons I can really think of, because this, to me, especially in this configuration, is really squared away. And there's a ton of aftermarket support. So the Grand Power Stribog, one of my favorites. The SP9A3G is my favorite. Being able to take the Glock mags is just a no-brainer. I don't have to worry about getting extra mags. I mean, they're readily available in a lot of different places. Plus, a lot of times I'm carrying a Glock, so it makes it really easy to have a Glock on your hip and have the magazines right here for a small little more, serious option. And guys, again, we have put a lot of rounds through these little Stribogs, and they're just great options. And the price is right. I mean, much cheaper than typically a lot of the comparable type firearms that are on the market. And the one great thing about this one, just like the HK MP5, is it's got that delayed roller blowback system. So it's softer to shoot and get back on target. And again, we really appreciate Gun Zone Deals for sending the Stribog SP9A1G for this review. They're the experts with the Stribog, and we really appreciate those guys sending us guns that we can bring to you guys. Rubber Dummies is one of the best training tools on the market, and you get a 10% discount using Sootch00 when you click the link down in the description. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Load on Monday, shoot till Sunday, baby. Weighs 4.54 pounds without the brake. According to the nice generous magwell. Nice generous magwell to get those magazines. Nice generous magazine. And this particular SP9A3 has the retractable. And when it comes to the trigger action, there's very little foreplay. There's very little foreplay. And so you just want to make sure that it's in there. You just want to make sure it's controls, okay, let's do this all over.